Hello and welcome to News Central Television. I am Lekon Onobanjo. The top stories at this hour. Senate President Akpabio denies sexual harassment claims as supporters of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan demands independent probe into allegations. Court orders forfeiture of 1.37 billion naira diverted under El Rufai government. South Sudan detains oil minister and military officials over peace deal. Details to come your way shortly. Start by telling you that the controversy over an allegation of sexual harassment leveled against the president of the Nigerian Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has continued to escalate, with Akpabio publicly dismissing the claims despite Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, the lawmaker from Kogi Central Senatorial District, formally submitting a petition on the matter on the floor of the Senate. The latest development unfolded as lawmakers resumed plenary after a week-long recess, setting the stage for intense deliberations. News Central's National Assembly correspondent Sagir Ibrahim reports.
As plenary resumes, lawmakers return to the chamber after a week-long recess, with anticipation high over the latest developments. Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan arrives accompanied by her husband and supporters amid heightened attention on the unfolding dispute.
How are you?
Opening the day's session, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, dismissed the allegations, urging Nigerians to allow the legal process take its course without bias or speculation.
Attempt any sexual harassment on the said distinguished Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan or any other woman for that matter. I urge all Nigerians, particularly the media, and then, of course, the members of the social media, to await the court's decision. And please do not jump to conclusions.
Immediately after Akpabio's remarks, Akpoti-Uduaghan rises from her new seat to invoke Senate Order 40, formally submitting a petition accusing the Senate President of sexual harassment and abuse of office.
Sexual harassment, abuse of office, and malicious obstruction of my legislative functions. I have decided to narrow these statements in a formal petition against the President of this Senate.
Sub-4 of Rule 40 states that no senator may present to the Senate a petition signed by himself or herself.
Earlier, a group of Akpoti-Uduaghan supporters gathered outside the National Assembly, demanding that Akpabio steps aside for an independent investigation into the allegations. Security operatives dispersed the protesters, denying them access to the National Assembly complex. Meanwhile, in a separate development, the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions commenced investigation into Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan's conduct, despite a court injunction barring it from doing so. The committee declares her petition dead on arrival.
The petition she presented today is actually dead on arrival. And I say that because it runs contrary to Order 40, subsection 4, that no senator may present to the Senate a petition signed by him or herself.
During Senate plenary, senators are at liberty to debate, to speak, to voice their opinions, and there is immunity. That is why what we say on the floor of the Senate, no outsider can come and say, I sue you.
It has been a day characterized by protest, ex parte orders and petitions, which the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions is claiming to be dead on arrival. It had vowed to continue with its investigation, citing the immunity clause, which it claims covers all senators during plenary. It had, however, gone into an executive session upon which it is expected to continue with its investigation on the 6th of March, being Thursday. In Abuja for News Central, I'm Sagir Ibrahim.
In the meantime, supporters of Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan have taken to the streets of Abuja calling for an independent probe into sexual harassment allegations leveled against the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio. The supporters had marched to the National Assembly with several placards demanding that the allegations should not be swept under the carpet. They insist that Akpabio must step down or step aside to allow a transparent probe into the allegations, while also urging him to stop what they describe as intimidation against their lawmaker. The protesters, comprised mostly of women and youths, will accuse Akpabio of using his position to suppress the allegations against him, while also alleging that Akpoti-Uduaghan has been the subject of repeated bullying and therefore called on the Senate leadership to ensure a fair and unbiased investigation into the matter. They were subsequently dispersed by security operatives and denied access into the National Assembly complex. To discuss this, we are joined by an activist, Adeola Shoeton. Thank you so much, Adeola, for joining us on the news. Okay, so we are going to probably skip that, and once we have Adeola, we'll be able to talk more about this matter. Let's move on now and tell you that the Federal Executive Council has approved the sum of about 10.3 billion naira for key interventions in the health sector. The council, after its second meeting in the week, which was held in the nation's capital, Abuja, also approved construction and renovation of 13 key projects across the different geopolitical zones of the country in line with budgeted provisions available. Amadin Uyi tells us more.
It was another Federal Executive Council meeting, the second in the week. The meeting, chaired by President Bola Tinubu, considered several memos from various ministers. The Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, gave details of 2 key approvals obtained for the health sector.
FEC approved a contract of 10,299 million naira for various products that are linked to enhancing the accessibility and affordability of health commodities, health services by Nigerians.
Professor Pate says that government is investing in the funding of antiretroviral drugs as part of its test disbursement of funds, worth 997 million naira. He also revealed that the government intends to support persons diagnosed with diabetes, considering its effects on citizens, and has approved the purchase of kits from local manufacturers, worth about 2 billion naira.
We will manufacture these diagnostic test kits in Nigeria. So government is procuring the diagnostic kits, the on-point blood glucose monitoring system that is manufactured here in Nigeria.
Professor Pate also added that President Bola Tinubu has approved the medical relief program to lower the cost of medical commodities for citizens.
Mr. President had previously indicated that we need to have a medical relief program to lower the cost for other types of medical commodities. So antibiotics, antihypertensives, and anti-diabetic medications beyond the test kits. Those are also worth 4.5 billion naira, which will be procured and distributed to help lower the cost. These are also commodities that are manufactured by local manufacturers here in Nigeria.
Also, the Minister of Works gave details of 13 memos approved by the Council.
There are 13 of them. I think the first one is, rescoping and variation for rehabilitation of Akalare Fukuk Road in Bauchi State. And the total cost of phase 1 is 11.278 billion. The second one is review and rescoping of Uturu Isukuato Akara Road in Abia State. Phase 1 is to be completed within 6 months in line with available fund for a contract period of 5.926 billion. And then we also have the big one. And the big one is fresh contract, and it is the construction of route from Zaria, Hunkui, to Kolomani, Dambali, Maraba, Kanya, Subawa, Kasa, which is in Kaduna and the Katsina State.
The Council also approved the purchase of key equipment for the Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital in Bauchi. including mobile X-ray machine and computerized tomography scanner at the cost of about 2.1 billion naira. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uyi.
Well, even as the sexual harassment allegation against the Nigerian Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, by the senator representing Kogi Central, that is Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, continues. Supporters, as we told you earlier, are calling for the Senate President to step aside for thorough, fair and unbiased investigation into the matter. Now, we are being joined by Adeola Soetan, who's an activist, to give a perspective to this. Adeola, it's nice having you around.
It's my pleasure to be with you. Good morning.
Good morning. Now, how would you assess the response of the Nigerian Senate and other relevant institutions to Senator Natasha's allegations?
Well, first thing, it projects them, the senators or the Senate, as a chamber of sexual harassment mob. The way they have treated this simple case is a simple case now made difficult by the Senate due to their activities to silence the woman, Natasha. Why is that? You see, we say he who alleges must prove. That's a global principle. But in this case now, he who alleges is not even allowed to prove because of some technical rules. And I say that project the Senate itself as not serious because the rules have been stepped aside or stepped down on many cases, particularly where the integrity of the Senate and your president is at stake. So how can you say for that, for a woman who came out to say the president harassed her sexually, and don't forget the same president, the former chair of NDDC, Mrs. Joy, accused him when he was Minister for Niger Delta in 2020, 5 years ago. So I think Akpabio himself has missed a great opportunity, to defend himself and of course to clear his innocence, if ever he's innocent. Because you that were alleged 5 years ago, the woman even said she slapped Akpabio because of sexual harassment. And Akpabio never went to court, never debunked it. Now it's happening now with your colleague. He should have just told his colleagues, look, gentlemen, I don't want us to use technical rules. I am stepping aside and let us have this debate because I have not seen, I've been lying against. People will have started saying, maybe this one is innocent. But you presiding over your own case, and the petition was submitted, and instantly the senators are saying, this petition is brought in there, I can't do this. I can even see some of the female senators. So ridiculous. Even some of the ex that should have been in the forefront was, okay, let's investigate. They are not even saying that. They were attacking Senator Natasha on the basis of his stature, his dressing, his beauty, and what have you. This is insane. Look at it. America and Lewis, Clinton and Lewinsky in the US. It happened too. Normally, the first instinct of any man or woman alleged of sexual harassment is to deny whether it's right or not. But after that, then the committee will investigate. When it happened, Clinton initially denied. When the first started coming, the committee was set up.
Okay.
And even House of Reps had to impeach him before he was returned by the Senate. So for them to disallow, it shows the level of their morality.
All right.
And of course, the collective they show.
Of course, we see the sensitivity in this case, something we cannot wish away. Now, the Arewa Consultative Forum and other groups have called for an independent investigation. In your own opinion, What measures should be taken to ensure transparency and justice in this case?
Well, sexual harassment is a global crime against women or against men. So for the Senate that have lost its integrity with the attitude they have adopted to treat such a simple matter, I also support the call for independent investigation, because the Senate cannot say it's their case. No, it's not your case. It's about women now. It's about power equation, power relationship in the Senate. And of course, this concerns another person on the street, either man or woman. So I also support fully independent investigation by, Nigerians, institutions, organizations that don't have any biased mind on this issue. To look at it, it's like in the university.
Okay,
so a university denounced a female student alleging a lecturer of sexual harassment because she did not pass a petition through a normal channel, or because of the spelling mistake. That university will project itself as a university of sexual harassers.
All right.
So I support that.
All right, I see that you support an investigation, but then, there have been concerns that cases involving high-profile figures in Nigeria often get swept under the rug. Now, do you believe that Nigeria's legal system and, of course, the legislative arm, let's even look at it generally, even the judiciary, do you think that they have that capacity to do a thorough investigation on situations like this, or there are some things that need to change?
Well, don't forget, the ruling class, particularly those notorious in those classes, will never surrender. Even if they are caught red-handed, they will still use their money position. But it's the people that will not relent. Like America did not relent during the Clinton, the whiskey case, and other cases abroad like that. We are not going to relent. In fact, the People's Court is more valuable now than the Senate decision or whatever they decide to. You can imagine that there is a court injunction by this woman that restrained the Senate from publishing her, investigating her, or her conduct in the parliament when he was accusing the Senate president. Yet, the Committee on Ethics went ahead. Do they know the meaning of ethics? Do they even know the meaning of distinguish they carried about? So it's about we, not about them. And I'm surprised that many of those guys that were in Senate, that projected themselves as good people, former union leader, former labor leader, and you start seeing what is happening. That ordinary is a simple case if it allowed to run its mills. It's a very simple case. If you arrest somebody, then let a committee be set up, and now you have lost that opportunity to revamp the image of the Senate. So about getting it under the carpet, it's not going to be for them. They can always sweep under the carpet. But in the People's Court, in our struggle, in our push, we are not going to allow that, whether they like it or not. I mean, they must allow investigation one way, or if they don't allow it, they are guilty. If they allow it, then they have an advantage to say they are not guilty and prove it. You can't take the old president of the Senate. Do they know the meaning of that? That's proprietary citizen. That's a big institution. We are not alone. The world is looking at us.
So, Adiola, one particular aspect I'd like us to bring into this is those who are in favor of the Senate president and those who are actually supporting Natasha. How do you see those protests and counter-protests in a situation like this? Because it seems as though people are being influenced over matters that they probably might not even have an idea about.
Well, let me tell you, the pro-sexual harassment protesters have shown their color, have shown that they lack integrity. And how do I mean? None of them, to my hearing, has called for investigation. They have just gone to defend Akpabio, which to me is wrong. They have just gone to defend. I mean, I'm not saying you cannot protest, you cannot defend, but what you should have asked for is an investigative panel so that your man you are supporting can be clear if he doesn't have any problem. You know, the fear of these people is that the moment Akpabio is being tracked, other cases may come up, and that will be disastrous. So for the anti-sexual harassment campaigners and protesters, I commend them, but they are calling for properly, and they are calling for Akpabio to step aside. Stepping aside will be the option. You can't be, a judge in your case. You have been alleged. When I saw on TV that was still presiding, they would have just said, gentlemen, the civil senators, I'm not going to be here. It will be moral of me being alleged to sit over receiving this petition. Let me step aside.
Okay.
People have clapped for him.
Adiola Sheton, thank you so much for sharing your perspective on the news with us. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Well, we go on a short break on the news. When we return, Rivers House of Assembly summons electoral chief over local government poll. We'll tell you more when we return. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. To court matters now, a federal high court in Kaduna State has ordered the interim forfeiture of 1.37 billion naira allegedly diverted from the state government's coffers during former Governor Nasir El-Rufai's administration. The money was meant for a light rail project that was never executed, depriving the people of Kaduna State of its benefits. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission traced the diverted funds to a private account belonging to Indo-Kaduna Marts JV Nigeria Limited. The court directed the ICPC to publish a notice in 2 national newspapers inviting anyone with interest in the property to present their claim. The case has been adjourned to April 8, 2025 for interested parties to make their case before the court. And now back to politics. The Rivers State House of Assembly has threatened to issue arrest warrants for all 19 commissioners serving in the state's cabinet. This follows their recognition as the authentic assembly by the Supreme Court's ruling. Correspondent Biola Festus reports. Well, we'll bring you details of that particular report in our subsequent bulletins. But then we are still in Rivers State, and we tell you that the House of Assembly has issued a stern warning to Justice Adolphus Enebeli, chairman of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, to appear before the House by Friday, March 7, 2025, or face arrest. This comes after the Supreme Court annulled the October 5, 2024 local government poll, and the electoral chief scheduled a fresh poll for August 9, 2025. Governor Siminalayi Fubara has assured the people of Rivers State that his administration will implement the Supreme Court's verdict, and the heads of local government administration will oversee affairs until fresh elections are conducted. However, the Supreme Court has barred the release of funds to the Rivers State government until it purges itself of disobedience to court orders. To Core North now, Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Zulum has sworn in a new head of service, Dr. Mohammed Aminu Ghuluze, with a call for transformation of the civil service system. New Central's Morakirawa reports that the governor charged the new head of service to roll out a plan for specialized training programs and mentorship initiatives to ensure professionalism and discipline in the Borno State Civil Service.
That I want you to conclude, amongst others, is the establishment of a very veritable nominal role of Borno State Civil Service that has all the above data. Let us say the right thing. We have some major problems in the civil service in Borno State. Amongst the problems are: 1, lack of competent administrative officers. Let us have the data very well according to their areas of specialization, so that we can train them very well. For you to rule very well, you must be tough and step on toes of men. I'll be happy if within the next 6 months you are bringing files forward to my office recommended for dismissals and others. Yes, those that are not coming to work. Without punitive measures on ground, people will never do the right thing. Doing the right thing does not mean wickedness.
Our preoccupation during our tenure will therefore be dwelling on building a robust and technology-driven civil service with adaptable workforce that can effectively tackle the challenges of governance in the years ahead. This will be part of our broader plan to rejuvenate the state civil service, bringing in youthful energy, new skills, and innovations. The aim is to provide the opportunity to embrace technology, improve service delivery, and create a more dynamic workforce.
Away from that, to combat unadulterated drinks, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has warned producers of fake beverages of hard times after arresting Anthony Chidi, a 52-year-old man caught in Port Harcourt's Mile 3 market for producing adulterated drinks. NAFDAC spokesperson Cyril Monye confirmed that Chidi was washing used bottles of various alcoholic beverages to reuse them for making unwholesome drinks. NAFDAC South Director Chukwuma Olibu reiterated the agency's determination to crack down on such illegal activities, warning offenders that jail time awaits them. The agency found items such as ethanol, dirty bottles, and packaging materials. We now go on a very short break. When we return, we'll tell you about heavy truck drivers who have embarked on a protest. So stay with us. The Heavy Truck Drivers of Nigeria Plateau State Chapter has condemned in strong terms what it describes as barbaric killing by suspected members of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, between Enugu and Abia State in southeast Nigeria. During a peaceful protest in Jos Plateau State to express their ill feelings towards the development, members of the council said they are worried that some people are no longer allowed to exercise their civic rights. News Central's Chizobanyowe tells us more in this report.
A peaceful protest by these members of the Heavy Truck Drivers Council of Nigeria, voicing their worries about the rising killing of their members and other forms of attacks meted out on them while conducting their lawful businesses. Carrying placards with various inscriptions in Jos, the capital of Plateau State, the members expressed their concern and displeasure at this development.
We address you today on the continued killing of our members, destruction, burning of our trucks by the government suspected to be members of indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, in the southeast Nigeria. For the past 8 years, our drivers from the northern Nigeria has constantly targeted, killed, and their trucks are destroyed, burned, transporting goods to southeast. We are still trying to understand what offense have we committed to deserve this barbaric killing.
According to them, in a space of 1 year, over 20 truck drivers have been attacked and nothing has been done to end the carnage.
Between January and December 2024, in the communities of Ihube, Ikigwe, and Isoti local government area of Imo State, more than 20 drivers were brutally killed. Their trucks were either burned or damaged. During the incident, the corpses were recovered, some corpses were recovered, while others are still missing.
Some of the drivers spoke about their concerns regarding the cases of attacks.
From Lomanta to Port Harcourt, that's where we get very, very big challenges in these areas. That's where they are treating us bad, and we are the indigenous of Nigeria. We are the citizens of Nigeria.
From Okugwe to Umaya, so we meet some people in the road with cutlass. They are also about money. We should give them money. So we have to park before we answer them. So we park, these people were beating us with stick and stoning us, cutting us with cutlass.
Like almost 50 of our trucks are missing. And the people inside the truck, they are missing. Yes, like this truck, we have reported it.
What is the response?
The response is that some of them said that they don't have till they give them authority from the federal government before they go where that truck is.
Among their pleas is that the federal government wades into this matter of interest to save the nation from what may escalate if nothing is done. In Plateau State for News Central, Chizoba Anyuwi.
To other matters now, the governor of Lagos State, Babagana Zulum, says the construction of the new First Bank headquarters will create numerous job opportunities for the residents of the state. Zulum was speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony for the new headquarters of the bank at the Eco Atlantic City.
People that will be working here, they will employ over 1,000 people. That's for them. They're not going to bring somebody from Ghana or from Ethiopia. These are Lagosians. You know, they can come from other parts of the country, but they are Lagosians. 1,000 people will be working here. That is how you grow the social economic development. That's what it is. Once you do development like this, the building are not just going to happen overnight. They're going to be suppliers. They're going to be sand sellers. They're going to be cement sellers. You know, they're going to be block makers. So that's how economy grows. Do you understand? That's how economy grows. So small businesses will flourish. You know, people will buy solar panel. People will buy air conditioning. That's how economy grows. So they will make money and they will have, you know, businesses, you know, flourish. People will see development and they can do something else with the revenues and resources.
Also speaking at the ceremony, the governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, affirmed that the groundbreaking ceremony was an indication of investor confidence in Nigeria.
There's no better testimonial to the fact that there's investor confidence than what is happening here today. And I think this is good signaling for the rest of the world that there is indeed a renewed hope in Nigeria under the leadership of our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There is a renewed hope and a new Nigeria in the making. So when you begin to say that the first indicator of economic improvement is construction, because with construction comes employment, job creation. That is what we are witnessing today. So I'm extremely excited. I'm happy for First Bank. I'm happy that I'm here to witness this economic indicator that's happening, as you see it happening here in Lagos.
Coming up on the news, Lesotho shocked by U.S. President Donald Trump remarks. We will tell you more when we are back. So stay with us. Let's now tell you that South Sudanese forces have arrested the petroleum minister and several senior military officials allied with First Vice President Riek Machar. Machar's spokesperson said on Wednesday, jeopardizing a peace deal that ended a 5-year civil war. The arrests follow intense fighting in recent weeks in the strategic northern town of Nasir between national forces and the White Army militia, a loosely organized group mostly comprising Noya. Machar's ethnic group, the White Army, fought alongside Machar's forces in the 2013 to 2018 civil war that pitted them against predominantly ethnic Dinka groups loyal to President Salva Kiir. According to Machar's spokesperson, both Balwang, the petroleum minister Port Kang Shaw, who hails from Nasir, and the deputy head of the army, Gabriel Duplam, were arrested, while all other senior military officials allied with Machar were placed under house arrest. Now, Lesotho's government has expressed shock at the U.S. President Donald Trump's remarks, suggesting that nobody has ever heard of the Southern African nation. During his first speech to Congress since returning to the Oval Office, Trump referenced Lesotho while outlining budget cuts he deemed necessary to eliminate wasteful expenditure. Trump spoke about $8 million sent to promote LGBTQI community in Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of, which Trump stated, prompting laughter from some members of Congress. In response, a spokesperson for Lesotho's Foreign Affairs Department has said that Lesotho maintains warm and cordial relations with the United States. Still ahead on the news. Supreme Court rejects Trump's bid to freeze $2 billion in aid payments. We'll bring you more on this and the other stories in a short while. To join us again. Outside of the African continent, the U.S. Supreme Court has rejected President Donald Trump's attempt to freeze around $2 billion in foreign aid payments, ruling 5-4 in favor of resuming payments on completed contracts. The court upheld a lower court decision requiring the government to fulfill its obligations with the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, and the State Department. Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Amy Coney Barrett, both conservatives, joined the 3 liberal justices in the majority. The ruling comes amid Trump's campaign to reduce government spending, particularly targeting USAID. In opposition, Justice Samuel Alito criticized the decision, questioning the power of a single district judge to compel the government to make such payments. Now, Argentine police have clashed with demonstrators in Buenos Aires during the weekly retirees protest, which saw a surge in participation this time from football supporters. The protest was fueled by a social media campaign urging people to not leave the pensioners alone. Retirees, including 72-year-old Oscar Suarez, voiced their frustration, with Suarez saying, and I quote, "First, they target retirees. Second, they are destroying the country." End of quote. Another protester expressed concern for the vulnerable, stating that all they want is to be better off, but should not do that at the expense of the most vulnerable.
Están haciendo mierda al país, primero que se agarran con los jubilados, segundo que están devastando el país, se lo ve clarísimo, ¿viste? La educación, la salud, esto no se arregla. La única manera de manifestarse es salir a la calle, la única que tenemos.
Acá hay una realidad, la realidad es que se está haciendo el ajuste sobre el pueblo, esa es la realidad. Entonces todos queremos estar mejor, pero no a costa de los más débiles. Te voy a repetir, tengo un hermano discapacitado y sé lo que...
Now, a Russian court has sentenced British national James Scott Rice Anderson to 19 years in prison for his involvement in Ukraine's offensive against Russian forces. Anderson, 22 years, was found guilty of terrorism and mercenary activity after being captured during combat in Russia's Kursk region last November. The court described Anderson's actions as part of a larger organized group, highlighting the damage it caused and the destabilization of local authorities. Anderson admitted to participating in the conflict for financial compensation. Foreign nationals fighting in Ukraine are typically classified as mercenaries by Russia, which denies them people of war protections under international law. Anderson's case underscores Russia's stance on foreign fighters engaged in the war. In business, in a statement issued by Bolaji Tunji, Special Advisor on Strategic Communication to the Honorable Minister of Power, Nigeria's power sector has recorded a new record in its power generation as the Ministry of Power announces that on Sunday, March 2, 2025, Nigeria achieved a record available power generation of 6,003 megawatts, the highest in the nation's history. This was followed by another landmark within the period, when the country recorded a peak generation evacuation of 5,801.84 megawatts and a daily maximum energy output of 128,370.75 megawatts per hour. Away from that, the Ghanaian Statistical Service reported on Wednesday that Ghana's consumer inflation slowed for the second consecutive month in February, declining to 23.1% from 23.5% in January. Government statistician Samuel Kobina Anim attributed the drop to easing food and non-food price increases. He noted a steady decline in food inflation over the past 4 months. However, February's inflation remains the third highest in the last 10 months. Ghana is still recovering from its worst economic crisis in decades and continues to struggle with high inflation, which remains well above the central bank's 6% to 10% target range. Nigeria has officially joined the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development as its 77th shareholder, marking a historic milestone. This membership follows the EBRD's 2023 decision to expand operations to sub-Saharan Africa and Iraq. Once the amendment enabling this expansion takes place, Nigeria could gain recipient country status, granting access to EBRD financial resources and policy support. Nigeria's Finance Minister, Wale Edun, emphasized the partnership's alignment with the country's economic reform agenda. EBRD President Udile Renaud Basso hailed Nigeria's membership as a landmark, highlighting its potential to foster private sector growth and sustainable development in Africa's most populous nation. Talking sports now, let's tell you that Nigeria's Chigozie Jeremiah Nana will take on Brazil's Rodrigo Oliveira in his third match at the Spanish Para Badminton Tournament at the MSL 4 men's category March. Nana, ranked 17th in the world, has been in dominant form, securing back-to-back wins. He cruised past France's Teddy Ferrazza with a commanding 21-4, 21-4 victory, marking his second consecutive triumph in the tournament. Oliveira, ranked 13th, presents a tougher challenge against Nana, who will aim to maintain his winning momentum at the tournament. Now, Nigeria Premier Football League side Lobi Stars have adopted the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium in Enugu as their new temporary home ground after a disappointing stint in Bauchi. The Pride of Makurdi previously played at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa Stadium, failing to secure a win in 3 matches. The new venue is the home of reigning Nigeria Premier League football champions Rangers International. Lobi Stars, currently bottom of the league table with 23 points, hope the move will spark a turnaround in their fortunes. Mohammed Babagana Zulum's side will face Ikorodu City at the new ground in a crucial March Day 28th fixture this weekend as they battle to escape relegation. And that's all at this hour. But then let's run through our major stories before we go. Senate President Akpabio has denied sexual harassment claims as supporters of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan have demanded an independent probe into allegations. A federal high court in Kaduna has ordered the forfeiture of 1.37 billion naira diverted under El Rufai's government. We also told you that South Sudan has detained oil minister and military officials over peace deal. Now you can send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on your screen. And don't forget to follow our social media handle. We are at News Central TV. And you can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times 274, Arvo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Liko Onobanjo.